Don's Manufactory. Well, update. This is Wednesday the 20th. I was just made a great grandpa today. Little Salem A was born, but naturally, because of the way things are, haven't seen her, won't get to see her probably for a week. Maybe longer, who knows. Anyway, so that's good news. On the Betsy front, I have been just doing, I guess I should call it piecemeal work. Just doing little things all over the place to get things tidied away. I've got to seal up the bottom of the pinch weld for the wheel wells, or the wheel houses, and along the floor pan and over the seams that I welded when I stitched it in. So I have all of that sealing I have to do, and then you get all that paint work done underneath. Everything has to be protected and painted very well, all with catalyzed chassis black, and then undercoated. I think I'll save the undercoat for the last. I think by the time I'm shooting undercoat, I'll have the entire interior and everything back in the car. That's what I'm thinking. I've been working on this. I got this all really well done here. I got my seam sealer, my encapsulating primer inside the seam where it was rusted and it had the seam sealer had come out. So I got all the rust taken out of there, treated with Ospo, encapsulated primer in there, and then I did all this and got the seam sealer in. I've got my Harbor Freight masking paper here, so I'm just doing it the hard way. Stretch it out across the deck lid, run the tape, peel it, stick it where I need it. It takes a couple of coats of really thick seam sealer to get that wedge of seam sealer built up in the bottom of the quarter. But I've got it on both sides now. One of the decisions I have to make is, am I going to paint it? I still haven't pulled the trigger on that. If I'm going to paint the car, there's no sense putting any of the glass back in. But if I'm not, then, and I'm just going to spot repair in the doors and that quarter over there, then I can go ahead and start putting that stuff back together. Anyway, there's no sense putting the interior in, anything like that, if I'm going to go ahead and paint it. In fact, I would probably go ahead and do the TKX training on the inside and put all the firewall stuff back together. I do have my kill mat here so I can get the firewall, get the kill mat on it, and make a new mat for the, you know, jute and tin foil, aluminum foil type mat for the inside of the firewall, and then get everything all mounted up, get the whole underside of the dash put back together, heater cord put in. I mean, there's a lot to do there. I could do all of that before I painted it. I don't know, because I haven't decided on paint. I'm not really sure where, at some point I'm going to run out of things to do, and I'm going to have to decide one way or the other. In the meantime, I'm solving that problem by not actually deciding, and I'm working underneath the car. All that stuff has to be done, has no effect on whether I paint it or not, and I can get get all that, dress all the welds and get everything primed and sealed, and get the muffler hangers back up, and all of the stuff that I have to do. Had a little sticker shock today. I was looking at if I'm going to use the paint for spot repair that I have up here, it's DuPont Centauri. I have 4 quarts of it left over, which, you know, frankly is enough to paint the whole car if I wanted to. It's a whole gallon. Anyway, the activator and the reducer for that gallon of paint cost $250. That's it. haven't decided, so I'm pushing forward. I guess I'll talk to you later. Today's update, I was been working on the back of the car, just wanting to get all of the just all of the loose undercoating knocked off and get everything prepped and then painted and primed and seam sealed and get the whole back of the car ready to reassemble. Real dirty job, but unfortunately this is what I found. What I've been doing is knocking all the loose undercoat out. Had to treat a little rust here. So I did that all the way around, you know, got all the loose stuff knocked out of there. Back here, same deal. See, I've got some OSPO on there, getting the rust taken care of. But, yeah, big but. Here is what I found. Rust on my quarter panel down here. So now I got to make myself a patch for this. I don't know, I might just make one, or maybe I'll just buy a little quarter panel patch and cut out the piece I need. That kind of sounds easier. Anyway, bad news. I thought I was done with all my rust repair, but I'm not. Such is life. So I'm working on this little spot right now where I found the rust through. I was just cleaning the inside of the wheel well and my wire brush poked a hole right through, and then I discovered I had a rusty hole there. So now I've cut it away so I can start making a patch for this. So that part's easy, but I will have to fabricate the inner wheel well there. Not too bad though. It's not too bad. I think I might just do this one in two pieces. Make the curved piece and then just take a strip and weld it on there. And I'll just fit it to the inside of this panel and make sure it fits the car, and then it should just go right in and everything should be hunky-dory. My original one comes down more of an angle and then goes under here. This one here wants to come all the way out to here and then go under. So I'm gonna have to reshape it anyway. I'll have to reshape this whole thing here, cut it so that I can tip it up further, and I'll have to roll the corner down and take some of the lip off so I can get it shaped right so that it looks like the 66 here, because I want it to blend in really well. Here's what I got done so far. This is my little patch that goes right here, just like so. That's the patch for the inner fender, so all I got to do is cut that other chunk out of there and stitch this one in. I got my wheelhouse patch in. Now I got to do a decent job of trimming this thing up. So, you know, I'm a little crooked along here, but what the hey. I got to clean up that and then cut a piece to stitch in there. Right here, it says made in Taiwan, so I'm not sure. Classic CJ, well anyway, made in Taiwan. Anyway, this panel was not shaped at all. Like back here where the balance panel goes, it's not even the same shape as the original. It wasn't the same shape here where the flare is around the wheel well, the wheel opening. So I decided I could have put a whole patch in the bottom because I had a little bit of rust I was treating on the inside of the original panel. But because the shape was so far off, I just decided it would be better to use the smallest patch possible, and then I could rework it and try to shape it to the same flare. Just finished stitching the patch in, just like that. So she's all in there. Now I gotta just sand her all out and Bondo. Something that I chose to do was make this ledge here cut short. The original one came all the way down like this, and it was actually out about here and went under. But what I decided to do was cut this lip short. It's not something you can see, so that mud and water won't accumulate in here. I'll be filling this all with seam sealer anyway, so, and then it'll have a really nice slope to it, and it'll all be seam sealed and everything, so water just won't accumulate in there, and hopefully the mud won't either. But it's something that'll be easy to just hose out when I'm washing the car. Not too bad. It's a little warbly. I may have gotten too much heat into it, but mostly what happened was when I cut the panel out, everything moved. The wheelhouse moved away, the quarter panel went burp. So the whole thing was assembled under tension, or had tension on it, and I was trying to sort of push things back where they belong and get things welded in, but I ended up with it not being exactly right. I had to reshape the panel I bought right here because it didn't match this flare here. And I was trying to get that blended, and I ended up with some hoop-de-doos in the metal. So I've got primer and seam sealer in the wheelhouse where I've been fixing stuff. The patch is in, and the seam sealer on the back side of the welds for the patch. Working on just a touch of Bondo, a little scheme of Bondo to kind of smooth out the welds where the patch is. A little more seam sealer and primer over here. Just getting everything all done up real good here so that we're sealed up and good to go. I might have to put a second coat on that. I say I have a hole right there. Let's just get my finger in there and smush that full. Okay, now I got seam sealer on my finger. That's my update for today. I got some more parts in. One of the things I've been doing is when I absolutely need something for the car and then it's not enough to get free shipping from whoever I'm ordering it from, what I've been doing is saving all the little incidental parts. This time it was the armrest pads and the armrest housing, which I hadn't ever replaced, but I decided I would buy new ones because there's no chrome left on the original ones. So I just kind of saved those, and when it comes time to order something I really need, I go ahead and I'll order that, but I'll add those little other items to it, and then it gets over whatever dollar threshold is required, and I get free shipping, and they send it to me, and I just throw all those parts down in my basement repository of Mustang parts. It just saves me some money on shipping that way. Although it makes the orders pretty scattered, so I have to keep track of that or I'm liable to order the same thing twice. I was expecting only having to spot the doors. Now, as you can see, I've got the quarter panel here. I'll have the quarter panel there, and the jambs on the doors and those front lower corners on the doors where I have to do patches. And then around the cowl, of course. A lot more paint work than I wanted to do. So now I'm leaning towards, maybe I should just paint the whole car. I haven't pulled the trigger on putting things like the quarters back together. They're all done. You know, the seam sealing on the inside and all the cleanup and derusting and everything, they're all done so I could put the windows back in. But, you know, if I'm going to paint the whole thing, there's no sense in putting all that trim back on, the new belts, moldings, and get the glass in there if it's just going to be in the way. You know, if I was going to paint the car, then I'll be taking these little things out too, and so I can just paint it and then bolt them back in. So, you know, things change. As soon as I decide I'm going to do that, it changes my order of sequence. Okay, I'm rambling on because I'm wasting time. I think I'll go downstairs and work on a video. Later. As soon as that dries up a little better, I'll be finishing off that quarter panel right there. As you can see, I am doing some seam sealing, although I think I ran out. Okay. Kind of begs the question, how much seam sealer do you guys end up using on your cars? I'm sealing everything, and I've used a whole quart on it, and I've still got the underneath sides to do. Well, some of the underneath sides, floor pan, around the floor pan mainly, but also around the torque boxes and whatnot. Trying to get things ready to start putting things back together. Basically, I am working my way forward right now on the underside of the car. Now I was noticing my harness wrap is just completely, it's just falling apart. So I'm going to have to get some kind of a harness wrap that, I don't really want to use that black fluted stuff, but some kind of a harness wrap that's split, so that I can get it on this harness while it's in the car, get it all, you know, back the way it belongs. Anyway, that's just one of the things I got to get going. But basically, pretty unexciting right now. I'm just cleaning stuff up, treating any rust I find with Ospo, and priming, sealing, painting, moving on. One of the things I did do, I spent the big bucks. And I ordered some Centauri 793S activator for the Centauri paint. Wasn't cheap, but I decided to just use the correct stuff instead of the other, you know, any aftermarket stuff. You know, I thought about trying some of, what is it? Oh. You know, I thought maybe some of this single stage urethane paint activator from Eastwood would work. It's a hell of a lot cheaper. And I may do a sample of this, but I thought when I start spraying color, in order to get this color to lay down right, I thought I better use the right stuff. And this is 793S instead of, what is it, 780S or something I used the first time, 783. Anyway, it's a new stuff, and it's supposed to work better, and it's supposed to be UV stable. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Stable. You know, that thing that I'm not. I was never really worried about this stuff here, because I wasn't going to do this part. I was only going to shoot it from right below the curve here, and just shoot this part, and then it all gets covered up, and who cares? But now I've got these spots here that I have to paint. You know, where I was making a mess of Betsy. And this one here. This one feels pretty good. I noticed there was one little high spot right here. It just feels like a pin or something, but not uncommon to have those types of dents. I can point out another one. Let's just move over here. See, on this side right here, looking at it this way, you can see there's a little crease right here. And that's because something rolled over in the trunk when I was hauling it, and it dented the quarter panel from the inside. Yeah, you know, it's a driver. That's what happens. I'm hoping all this works out really good. I'm going to go ahead and seal all the rest of this here. And any place where I see that there's a little spot where I was welding, and then there's like, oh gosh, the weld didn't fill the entire spot. Anytime I have one of those, I always put sealer in it, because you never know if it's going to be a pinhole that's going to leak water. So yeah, I put lots of seam sealer around my reinforcements back in here, and filling up the holes right here and up here on these right up here in this corner on these torque boxes, because I don't want you got to remember that this is where the wheel is throwing water. So if there's any inkling of an opening, the water is going to get in there, because the wheel is just kicking tons of water into this whole area. I've even thought about just mounting a little curved piece of something. It could even be plastic, just something to help save the corner and all the welds and stuff in this corner here where we rust out all the time. Just save it a little bit. I don't know, I may still do that. You know, I'm always coming up with ideas. And I still have to modify the shields. Rock shield, water shield, whatever you want to call those things. I still have to modify that, but because of my reinforcements, all the screws have to go in backwards. Normally the screws came through this way and screwed into the shield, but now it's going to have to go this way into the shield and thread into my reinforcement, and then I'll have to make sure it's sealed up. So there's a slight change of design and fitting in here because there's a little extra material right here because of this, so I'm going to have to cut it away and fit it and make sure I can get it sealed up properly. You know, just things have to change. Anyway, that's the kind of stuff that's going through my head today, is how am I going to take care of all this? That's the update for today. Later.